Hello. So today we're taking out the Zero SRF for a test ride. I'm really excited to ride this bike. Everything I've heard about them has only been, really good. And after riding the Zero DS, I'm really hoping that this thing is kind of what I would have really liked the DS to be. I can't wait to ride it. So let's get out on the road and do a first ride review of this thing. Okay, we're on the road now, on the Zero SRF, and I already really like it. It's just, again, such a manoeuvrable bike, similar to the DS. So again, just huge thanks to Franklin Motorcycles in Dublin for allowing me to take this thing out. They sell Indians and Zeros and everything in between. They have lots of used bikes. Do go check them out online. All of the guys there are really nice to deal with. They're all sound, and they'll do right by you if you go in there to have a look. So the bike we're reviewing, as you would have seen earlier, is the Zero Motorcycles SRF, which is kind of their superpower bike offering more recently. And this thing is an absolute weapon on paper, so time will tell. We're going to start out in eco mode, and we're going to go through all the modes as we go through the review. But in eco mode, the first thing I'm going to do is go through the ergonomics, because that's what eco mode's all about, really, just tipping along and enjoying it. So to start off, the bars are actually a really comfortable position. I like them, and again, I'm 6'7" and weigh quite a lot. I'll put numbers on the screen if you're interested. But the bars are really comfortable. So far, the only thing I'm still missing is the clutch lever. Brake lever is really nice. For me, possibly the rear brake pedal could be more kind of proud, I suppose. It is kind of far in. It's still fine. I can still reach it. It just could be in a more comfortable position, we'll say. That's really the only thing I could say about it. The screen, so ergonomically the screen is absolutely fantastic. A glance tells me everything I could possibly want to know. I can see what temperature is outside. I can see the battery temperature, motor temperature, my range, how much percentage I have left, everything you could really need, to be honest. I don't see why anyone would want more than that. Switchgear is really nice. Again, the only thing I would argue with about is this. It's just slightly too far away from me. I don't know if I have short thumbs or something. But then on the left hand side, everything's really nice. Now I did a quick play around with the modes, and we'll go through it in a sec. But the mode button, in comparison to the Zero DS, Zero have fixed it. This is way better. So you hold it down till it flashes, and then you push. So now we're in street. So far I haven't noticed any changes, but I wasn't really able to ride the bike on anyway. But ergonomically, bike's very comfortable. Possibly the seat being the way it is, and you'll see it when we do the aesthetic part of the video. The seat's quite lean, so that could possibly become an issue over long distance. But where I'm actually sitting, I'm not pushed into the, what do you call that? It's not the tank anymore. The front battery cover, I suppose. You're not sat up onto that with your testicles or anything like that. You are comfortably sat in it. But this is, for a big person even like myself, this is a really comfortable bike, I have to say. My knees aren't bent so much that they're under pressure. My arms are nice and loose. I am really comfortable. At speed, you're going to have a lot of wind hitting your chest, but that's just, it's a naked bike. If you buy a naked bike and don't expect that, you probably shouldn't have bought a naked bike. That kind of closes off ergonomics, and I would say we'll give an overall rating a really damn good ergonomics wise. Very happy with it. One thing I will say actually before we close out ergonomics, It's kind of been a general electric bike thing. When I first got on the DS, I was nearly weirded out by it. 20% of the way through the ride I got to do on the DS, I was 100% comfortable. And the good thing about that is, I wouldn't say that I'm used to it. I think that would be an oversimplification. But I jumped on this today. It wasn't back to the same kind of feeling of surrealness that I had with the DS. This was definitely immediately something I was like, oh yeah, I can ride this. I am a lot more comfortable being on an electric bike this time. So I'm going to start off power and torque section a little bit differently. The stats you would have seen in the intro and on the screen there now. And I think, honestly, focusing purely on how much brake horsepower this can put out at a peak and how much torque it can put out continuously and instantly, it takes away from the actual bike. It just delivers everything so linearly. That's the incredible part. Like down low, I'm in street mode, which is honestly, it's probably the most comfortable setting. And you know, even when you go for it halfway, you feel exactly how much throttle you're using, and then when you gun it, this thing is an absolute beast. Like I know this thing will keep climbing if I wanted to. I just don't know if I wanted to. So we're going to pop it into sport. Whoa! Yeah, this is it's oh my god, that should be all you need to know. It's startling, the pace, the instant power. I mean, so yeah, okay. So basically, the power I've displayed, the torque I've displayed, it's delivered in one continuous gear. So you have one gear on your motor. Obviously, being an electric unit, we don't have a clutch, we don't have gears to worry about. We only have that level of twist and go, which is actually violent. It's just absolutely, it's just wonderful. I'm lost for words for it, which doesn't happen to me that often. But that's not the impressive thing in sport. You know, look, I'm just kind of managing my throttle now in a traffic situation, and it's absolutely 100% nice and linear, controlled, no issues whatsoever. So you can leave it in sport, and you have all the, you know, the hooliganism that you want, and then you still can pop into traffic, and instead of messing with modes and stuff, it's just as usable. It's not unpleasant power. It's not something that you're going to tip one day accidentally in sport mode, and all of a sudden you're watching your bike roll away down the road, and you're kind of sitting on your arse looking at it. It's really, really nicely modulated. This bike does not have that mush. It's just twist and go straight away. So power wise, this thing's incredible. I'll be honest, it's absolutely incredible. I have not felt that from a bike before, to be quite brutally honest with you. I just haven't. So now we're going to get into handling, and we're going to turn around because I see a lot of rain over in front of us. And I'm perfectly happy testing out rain mode, but that looks like a lot of sea mist / rain. So we're just going to go through low speed handling when we're in this low speed zone. And the same as I said about the DS, this bike feels so well balanced. It's absolutely nailed down. I can't say anything else. You know, it's nice, it's movable. And we're going to brake. Yeah, the brakes are incredible. So there's our braking test done. Again, same as the DS. I think it's just something that Zero kind of have nailed down. The brakes are really, really good. They bite straight away. So you get a really good feel through the brakes. I have to say, honestly, even the SRF being a bigger sporty bike, as a city bike it'd be perfect. It's so narrow and everything else, and its handling is just so nice for this type of riding as well. But to finish off, so we've done the brake test. The brake test was really, really good. This thing is shockingly good at stopping. Just slip by you there. It stops so damn quick. And it's not even how fast it stops, it's how controlled it is while stopping. It's just it's a really predictable stop, and also really effective. Now that's partly the tires are on. There's very good tires in this bike, but also you have that big double disc up front. As far as I remember, it was a 320mm. I'll correct myself in a little comment tag if I'm wrong. And then at the back you still have one single disc big brake as well. But the ones up the front, they're just big brakes, and they stop you very nicely. So then handling at a slightly higher speed is also absolutely fine, you know. Moving around in a straight line is lovely. Everything feels nice and pointy. Braking, as I said, is super controlled. And even, then corners like this, it doesn't ever feel like it's going to give you surprises. It's so well balanced. I can move around the seat nicely if I want to. And it just feels like it has grip and direction for days. And then another brake test, because I saw a car, and we're good. But it just grips so well. It turns in so well. Oh. And again, another brake test. You can see how damn good this thing stops. So handling, braking, it's really excellent. So let's have a quick talk about aesthetics. This bike, I actually quite like it. From the lines that I see on the tank, I really like this. Obviously, you have your plug here. There is more storage in here. We'll go through that later. But from an aesthetics point of view, I really like, again, same as the DS, the simplistic design they've done here. I really like it. It's clean. It's what this bike should be. The brake fluid reservoirs they've used here are really beautiful. The same one down below, and I'll show you in a second. But first, I just want to show you this, the startup of the screen. So you got your little 0 symbol, and then the display comes in, which is really crystal clear and I think quite beautiful. While we have the ignition on, you can also see that really nice LED front light. I just think the whole bike is put together really well, from the forks, which are upside down, and I think everyone knows that upside down forks are just the best forks. The wheel color with this color package, I'm not sure how many colors it comes in, but it's really nice. Even the minimalistic badge, 0 SRF brand, and actually the battery pack, which is just really well put together. I love the trellis frame. This is absolutely, it just makes it. You have to show this off. It's the centerpiece of the bike, being the battery. There's the rear brake fluid reservoir, and this, I think this is gorgeous. So this is part of the motor. So this is your electric motor, and you can see here where they've just done all this really nice design work up to the passenger foot peg. The back wheel, I really like the wheel design. It's absolutely stunning. I really think they've done a really good job on this bike. The DS was nice, but this is after knocking the ball out of the park. The seat, I really like the seat design, and even into the backlights. So the backlight I think is really nice. Indicator's really good. Belt drive, nice and subtle. I think everything about this bike is actually quite subtle, which is not what I was expecting. You know what I mean? They could have went two ways with this. They could have made it really shouty, I'm electric, or they could have made it this, a really pretty bike aesthetically. For me, I don't give things 10 out of 10 really, but this one is definitely up there design wise. It's really pretty, especially since they had to work with not having an engine, and engines are good looking, let's face it. Engines look nice. It's easy to design them. So now we're going to talk about practicality, and for that, when we're moving again, which is now, we're going to throw this back into another mode. And this mode is honestly probably one of the most important ones in Ireland: rain. So now we have a rain mode, and the throttle modulation straight away is much more, mushy. It's not instant, it's not bitey. But that's really important, because I don't know how many of my videos you may or may not have seen, but it rains a lot here. And definitely in sport mode, this it'd lose you your bike, because you're gonna come out of a corner, hit a big pool of water, and you'd be gone. And I think that's the beauty about the modes on this bike, is that you don't have to change your riding style, because they do it for you. If you like to pull at the throttle and really yank it, you can still do this on this bike. And then, as an example of how practical it is, nice and narrow, we're just going to scoot up here and then scoot back in out of the way of this van. And you can see that this is something you could do on a daily basis if you were going to bring this bike to work. Other kind of practical bits is you do have a chunk of storage here, and we're going to stop in a minute and go through that. And you know, this bike is definitely okay for bags. Tail bag could fit because you don't have exhausts, you don't have, you know, excess things on the bike, and we'll just stop in a second and I'll go through that. So then, from a practicality point of view, like I said, you can definitely put bags on this seat, tail pack, all that stuff. And then if you want to get access to here, the key goes in here, clicks, and there you go. So the only thing is, this space is taken up with your charger. That's something that you could have to look at if you're commuting and you know you're not going to need this until the evenings. You probably wouldn't have to take it with you. So then, before we take off, I'm just going to throw this back into a different mode. We'll go street. I quite like street. So we've got to talk about, from a practicality perspective, is this a bike that I can see, you know, someone using on a daily basis for work? It really is. It takes 4.5 hours to charge, so it's faster than the DS. It's half the time of the DS. I think that's off the standard charger as well, the one that's in this tank top box here. But is this something I can see someone using on a daily basis? It really, really is, because, you know, it's kind of the age-old thing. You know, everyone has the one thing about electric vehicles in general, that's range. But like, in reality, when I thought about it after I did the DS, there's not that many people who do that type of mileage in a day. And again, most people who daily use a bike, such as myself, I wouldn't even use half the charge on this in a day. Purely from, you know, I'm using it to go in and out to work, down to the shops, in to get parts for my bikes, for a quick spin in the evening with my friends. You know, that's what this bike is perfect for. You know, are you going to take it touring around the country? No. But are you going to take a lot of naked bikes touring around the country? A lot of people wouldn't. You know, personally, I would. And I would attempt to take this touring around the country, to be honest. I would. If you buy this bike, you kind of know what you're getting into. You know you're getting into the facts of an electric vehicle, that, hey, this is something that's I'm going to have to charge, and it may run out of charge on me at some point. You know, you're aware of it. It's something that's going to happen, you know. So then we'll talk about extras. What extras does this bike have? A lot, quite a lot of them. So I'm going to consider an extra, you know, the display we have there. That's an extra. It's a fancy newer display. A lot of people like it. It has Bluetooth, riding mode, traction control, ABS brakes, you know, LED lights, so the lighting is really good at night time. But it feels super flickable. It's just a really nice bike, which as an and I know that's not an extra, but I'm putting, you know, how these bikes feel, how well weighted they are, I'm putting that as an extra. I just think it deserves to be one. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. I know it's cloudy, but it's still an awesome view. Look at that. Stunning. So just to begin my final thoughts, because we have these views here, so why would you want me off the bike to look at my face? Zero have done something that I think is ridiculously impressive with this bike. So to start out with, you know, electric vehicles in general have come on so much in the last even 5 years, but the thing that I think is so impressive with Zero is, from the DS, which is the last one I rode, it's not an old bike, you know, it's relatively new. If someone made the kind of you know, massive jump forward in quality, in power and feel that Zero have made with from the DS to this, they'd be being sang from the rooftops. You know what I mean? If they got the kind of performance gain from the R1 current generation to the R1 next generation, everyone would be talking about it. The only reason that no one is talking about the Zero getting this absolutely, frankly, astounding increase in performance is because it's an electric bike, and I don't think that's fair. This is a really good bike. So to kind of finish up on this bike, it's a really impressive machine. Would I pick this over the DS? Yeah. Would I get one? Would I get an electric bike? I absolutely would. I don't see why not. The electric bikes really are absolutely great machines. Would I have one as a first bike? Maybe not. Would I have one as, you know, an alternative second bike? I would. It's just something that I feel people are going to have to get used to the idea of electric bikes in general, you know. So for a quick show and tell, this is my size on the Zero. As I said, I'm really comfortable on this. You know, that's how my leg is up on the peg. Really comfortable. It's a good fit. Cost-wise, these bikes are, you know, they're actually okay. You know, there's nothing major. If you were to get this or an MT10, you know, you would have, I think, a bit of agonizing to do, because the MT10 is also a really pretty bike, definitely one of my favorite bikes. But this is also a good looking bike, you know, it's a good looking overall package. Like I said before in the aesthetics section, I really like the trellis frame. I really like how the battery is packaged into the frame, to be quite honest. And I think it's just a really good bike. I think it's definitely something that people are going to have to get used to the idea of, is having electric bikes around, having to deal with their you know, their range a little bit more precisely. But, you know, that's something that I think is gonna happen. I think it's something that should happen. You know, are people gonna have these as their only bike? Yeah, I think there will be people with one of these as their only bike. Maybe not straight away, but definitely over time. So to close out, this is a bike I would buy if I was in the market for a brand new sporty bike. And something that I think really people are going to have to come to terms with is how maintenance free these are. You know, there's no clutch to be done, there's no oil changes. You don't really have to worry about your battery going dead, because you just plug it in to charge it up. You know, with the drive belt, you don't really have to worry about it. There's no piston rings to go wrong. There's none of that, you know, timing, all that stuff. It just doesn't, it's not a concern. It's not something that comes into play. And it's something that I think is really good. You know, I think one of your biggest service items on this bike, and I won't tell you why, if you can figure it out yourself, then well done, fork seals. I think fork seals are going to be probably one of the biggest issues on this for people. Is this a good bike? It is. Is it a good looking bike? It is. Is it something I'd buy? It is. Again, it's just missing that engine note. And I don't think that's Zero's fault. I don't think it's something I don't think you can replicate it. And I think it'd be worse if they tried to replicate it. Overall for me, the Zero SRF is really, really stunning bike. Really, really nice bike. Design wise, everything wise, by the way, I checked the seat afterwards. I'll just show you. This thing is like some thick foam gel. It is really comfortable actually. A bit lean for my big ass maybe, but really, really comfy. And I'm not sure who's supposed to sit up there. Maybe a supermodel? I don't know. That's like, if someone's ass is as big as my hand, I don't think anyone's going to fit there realistically, but I could be wrong. So one last time, absolutely huge thank you to Franklin Motorcycles for letting me take this out. Absolutely loved it. It is a hyper naked. It's a hyper naked. I think it's up there. It could definitely compete with something like the MT10. Not in top speed, but you know, that's something that people are just going to have to come to terms with if they want one of these. They're not a top speed machine, but they're a really good bike, and I would love to take one out in the track someday. So thanks again, Franklin. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Adios.